Right, let's have a quick look through Monday's newspapers. Economics commentator at the New Statesman, Grace Blakely, and Guido Fawkes reporter Tom Harwood are here. Welcome back. And we're going to get stuck into the Times first, Grace. And this is the Hillary Benn amendment that will be voted on tomorrow, which might actually see Theresa May forced back to Brussels to renegotiate. Explain to us the amendment and the implications.
Yeah, so Hillary Benn is proposing this amendment that rejects the deal, rejects a no deal, and demands that Parliament gets a final say, which is interesting in the context of Tusk's previous remarks that it's this deal, no deal, or no Brexit, right? I mean, this kind of potentially increases the likelihood of no Brexit, although that is still highly unlikely.
Or it forces Theresa May back to the EU to negotiate again. There is this summit on Thursday and Friday. That could be an option.
Although,
exactly.
It's very difficult if she were to go back and renegotiate on the back of this amendment, because having taken no deal off the table, she's left with very little to bargain with. There's not much in her negotiating hand left. And it's unlikely that she'd be able to get a better deal without that option of saying, I can walk away if we're not given something good enough.
Let's have a look at the Telegraph. What's Boris Johnson saying in his column today?
In his weekly Monday column today, he's saying that this government needs to have more backbone and bin the backstop. He sort of explores the parliamentary debate that's been going on over the last week and sort of picks up on the theme that something that unites both Leavers and Remainers in the House is that the backstop is unacceptable and fundamentally doesn't respect the result of the referendum. And so he's saying that the country needs more steel, more grit and more determination in these talks, and perhaps laying out a bit of a pitch for leadership, as some might see it. He sets out two clear policies by which we could have a stronger negotiating hand, withholding half of that 39 billion until the second half of the talks, and also binning that backstop.
It's quite interesting. Could you see the EU reopening negotiations on the withdrawal agreement with anyone other than Theresa May? If they won't do it for Theresa May, would they do it for Boris Johnson, for example?
If they're not going to do it for May, there is absolutely no way that they'll do it for Johnson. I mean, I think there's a lot of kind of impetus being placed on the idea of a renewal of the democratic process from the other side of the Channel. So, potentially, I mean, I can see, for example, Jeremy Corbyn going back to the EU and being able to renegotiate something, but whether or not Boris Johnson will be able to do the same thing is, I think, unlikely.
The Telegraph did just very quickly reveal that last night Theresa May was back on the phone to Brussels, so it looks like these negotiations could actually be reopened.
Yeah, there's plenty going on behind the scenes here at Westminster. Let's talk about Raheem Sterling, Grace. You've chosen The Guardian. Raheem Sterling has accused the UK press of racism.
Yeah, Stan Collymore has this great column saying this country's outrage over racism will pass. It always does. I mean, I'm a Man United fan, but I am with Raheem Sterling completely on this. He's pointed out in an Instagram post yesterday that the racist abuse that players suffer on the pitch is intimately linked to the portrayal of them in the media, and also the fact that there's no real representation in the kind of upper echelons of the sport for black players.
Tom, that's a good point in terms of lead writers in football and sports editors aren't from black or ethnic minorities.
Well, it seems that Raheem Sterling particularly has had a really hard time in the press. I remember over the summer there was a particular gunning after his tattoo and his. Sorry, say that again?
Hasn't Wayne Rooney had a hard time in the press as well?
It's true, but I think to a lesser extent. I think particularly with regards to racism and actually homophobia as well, within football, there are particular problems that you see fans engaging in. There are all of these videos that pop up on social media of attacking other fans, of racial caricatures and stereotypes. And really, it is a particular problem within the sport.
OK, well, how much does that have to do with the UK press? Let us know what you think. News@sky.com. You can tweet me at Sky. Sarah Jane, Grace, Tom, thank you very much. Going to get a check on the weather now with Naz.